Hi everyone, thanks so much for listening to another episode of Dogman Encounters Radio. I'm Vic Cundiff and I'll be your host for the show. Before we bring on tonight's guest, if you've had a Dogman encounter and would like to speak with me about it, whether in private or on the show, please go to dogmanencounters.com and submit a report. I'd love to hear from you. If you've had a Sasquatch sighting and would like to be a guest on Bigfoot Eyewitness Radio, please go to bigfooteyewitness.com and submit a report. All right, let's bring on tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is Candace. Candace, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much for coming on and telling us about your experiences. We really appreciate it. You were featured on episode 203 of Bigfoot Eyewitness Radio 2 weeks ago. On that show, you told us about the Sasquatch encounters you've had and continue to have. For the listeners who missed that show, please give them a brief bio on yourself.
Well, my name's Candace, and I'm 52 years old. I live kind of out in the country, but not too far from town. And where I live, access to waterway, it's a big creek and woods that opens up into fields and stuff like that.
When you move to a new home, you never really know what's going to come along as part of the package. Unfortunately, in your case, Dogman did.
Yeah, you would have never thought that in a million years. Where I'm at, it's like one main road that goes through here. And you can tell by living here that the road that's behind us, because once you go outside and you're out back, it's nothing but a big open field. And it's like, it's not a drainage ditch. It could be. It's part of the creek system to let the water flow run off and stuff. Then it's a big field, and then it's the road. Then it goes into more woods and more fields, and there's houses and stuff scattered out. And there's a subdivision and things like that. You would not think that something like that would be so close to population. But I wonder sometimes if, this road used to be like just the old country gravel road, and it's paved because there's two schools sitting on this road. And this road is traveled a lot. It really is.
Wow, 2 schools? Yeah, that's not good considering what you know is lurking in the area.
No, because they're really attracted to children. And I think that's what keeps them in those woods over there. But I've seen a lot of signs, and I was over there yesterday and I was taking pictures, and they've taken 2 great big trees. You know, a lot of people think it's Sasquatch that's taking the trees doing that. But now, after seeing what I did, I'm wondering if it's not Dogman doing that, because it's a big X. And I took pictures of all of it. And, I don't think Bigfoot is the only one that breaks trees and all that kind of stuff. I really, after what I've seen, I know what I've seen, and I know what's there. So it's just crazy.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's a lot to wrap your head around. You say your Dogman encounters have devastated you. Please expand on that for us.
Well, they've devastated me because I don't know. It's like I could deal with the thought of Bigfoot, and maybe because I know a lot about it, and that's from a Native American perspective and being raised and being taught about it. But I can feel the fear. It's like I just have this fear, and I know when not to go in those woods. And it's like they admit something, and all the pictures I have, and you can see like I can take, and what I do is I take pictures and I take them back to back to back. That way there's before, during, and after. That way you don't have just one picture and say, oh, well, what's that? It's too blurry. And I'm going to tell you something. The reason a lot of people that I feel, and this is just from experience, I feel like when they are around, okay, they have to have something they can do, because them walking on their legs like that is not normal for a dog. And I think that they are evil. I think that I know people think I'm crazy, but I think there's a lot of telepathy stuff going on. And when I was over by the woods, I didn't even go in the woods. I was just right on the edge of it. And it was like they came up so fast behind this log and they were peeping, like peeping up. And it's because I think they have that curiosity and not necessarily that they're going to eat you. They've had chances. I mean, if they were going to really attack me or something, they could have already done it because I've had close encounter and I feel like this evilness that is emitted, or I have this fear. But what comes over me is like, I don't know. You just know. It's like, it's hard to explain. And I've listened to your shows and I can relate to a lot of people that's had encounters. It's almost like when they growl. And let me tell you, I've seen their eye shine and I've seen pups with the eye shine, and it's really boggles my mind how they climb the trees. I mean, I know they do. They got their front paws are not paws. They're more like an elongated hand with really sharp, I would say razor sharp nails. They took and put marks in the trees over here behind me. And, I've taken pictures of them, but they had already, like it already turned, like brown of the tree. But when they first did it and it was so fresh, and I don't know why I didn't take pictures then. I don't know if it just scared me so bad I wouldn't go back over there. But then I did. And, you can still see the marks in the tree, but they're dark now. And yeah, it's just pretty wild, it's devastating to you because it's almost like your soul, like they're resonating some kind of energy force off of them. And I know like, this one picture I have, it is so blurry, but you can still see it. You can see the whole outline of it. You can't see the face or nothing. It's like as if it was a ghost, but solid. It's solid. You can't see through it. So I know it bleeds. And I'll tell you something else I found out. And this is just from a Native American perspective. They say the only thing that will really kill them is copper. If somebody's going to kill one, and how people have shot them and stuff like that, and it's not phased them. Because I was told the only thing that, like a lot of people think werewolf, silver bullet, no, it has to be copper. And I don't know why, but that's what I was told.
Well, there might be something to that. There are a lot of theories about how this will affect them, that will affect them, but I guess we really will never know.
We might in the future.
Yeah, we might someday. Since all of your encounters happened at your property, please tell us more about it before you tell us about your encounters.
Okay. Where I'm at, there is about 2.5 to 3 acres behind me. To the right of me is nothing but woods. And then there's a back road on the other side of those woods that goes to like a high school. And then it just goes back into more woods. Then after the land and the field and stuff, there's like that little country road, and it goes, like a lot of people travel it. And, it's just all woods, and there's a log cabin on the other side of that. Then there's a little bitty country store right at the other end to the left of me. And then where the woods are at, there's this big church that sits back there off the road. And, it's just surrounded by nothing but woods and fields. And then if you go through those woods and fields and go down another road, then you'll get into some houses. But, It's just really, really, really wild. And that is really explains my property where I'm at. For a long time, I really didn't know that it was a dogman. And dogman never even really crossed my mind then. And I was just thinking, Sasquatch, and that I had a family. And I know that I have seen Sasquatch over there and back there and had one stand up. But then I was back in the woods. We went back there. Okay, that day it was just me and my grandson. And I wanted to go down on this little sandbar that's in the creek and I like to collect rocks. I like to do a lot of arts and crafts. And so we decorate rocks and things like that. And I like having them for my flower bed. And I love creek rock. I'm an outdoors person. I haven't been camping or anything. I quit doing all that stuff because you don't know. You got to be safe. You got to protect yourself. But then it's hard for me because I love the outdoors. And I will walk over there and I will walk around the edge by myself, as long as it's like daytime, to take pictures. But the only way I'll go back in those woods is if somebody's with me. That's the only way that I'll ever go back in there. And okay, me and one of my friends, because there's other houses and stuff in like a duplex. They're side by side and they're like on the other side of the field. Well, a friend of mine, Tina, lived there and me and her would hang out in the summertime, just sit out back and enjoy ourselves and listen to music. And sometimes we would sit out back till 1 or 2 in the morning and listen to music and cut up and laugh and, just have fun. And anyway, I was telling her about it and we had, always talked about the Bigfoots and stuff. And then I was telling her, I said, you know what? I said, I don't think it is. I said, I think it's that thing they call the Dogman. And of course, she kind of snickered a little bit and laughed and thought it was funny. And I said, no, I'm serious. Well, I have these tactical flashlights and stuff, like military grade, and they can do grids and all this different kind of stuff. So I was shining it and we went over to where she lived and went to the end of the road and I started shining it and you could see them. I mean, it was like, cause it's all field over there and it's trees, but there are street lights on these posts over where the church is. And you could see the kind of like what I call egg yolk looking eyes. And, I mean, it scared her so bad. She ran in and we didn't come back out. Well, then we didn't hang out like outside for a while. And then, it was like, okay, whatever. And then there was 3 of us. It was Tina, my friend Sean, and myself. And we were all out back hanging out, just cutting up, having a good old time. And, it was like all of a sudden you could just feel something wasn't right. And these woods over here, it's like, they've interwoven the trees and the brush that's over there. It's almost looks like it's braided and it's bent over. And you can tell that something gets in there and beds down and stuff like that. And if I go right outside here on the patio, I can walk over there like 200 yards or whatever. I mean, it's close. I'd have to actually take a tape measure, measure it. It's close. And just walk right over there to the edge of the woods where I'm at because that creek runs right through here, through the property. And, the way the woods are, and you can look down there and see. At first, when I used to first see it, I thought it was deer laying down there because I seen a mama and her baby. And then it had rained that year so bad and flooded, and it ran them deer over to the other side. And there's a lot of deer trails and stuff like that. And, I used to go hunting when I was younger. My dad taught all of us how to be survivors and live off the land and fish and hunt and all that stuff in case anything ever happened in life, you know how to survive. So anyway, I walked over there and I took pictures of where something was bedding down, and I seen a huge paw print. Well, that day I didn't have my phone on me to take the picture, and I ran back in to get it. And I was like, oh my God, you already see this print out here. Cause it was kind of like in the creek bed where it was dried out a little bit, but it was still kind of moist and wet. And there was only one. So I grabbed my phone, get my camera going, and I run back out there and I go to where it's at. And when I get there, it's gone. And I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, I know I was right here. This is the spot. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I was just up a few feet, inches or feet or whatever. So I walk all through there and I'm like, I'm looking, it was gone. It was not nowhere. And I was like, I know I am not hallucinating. I'm straight as an arrow, and I know I'm not hallucinating. I seen what I seen. I've been whistled at, and that was just about a week and a half ago. I was whistled at. I wasn't all the way in the woods, but I had walked up to where something beds down. So you're kind of like in the woods, but it's still kind of open and got some brush and stuff around it. So I was standing there looking, and the reason for that is because all of a sudden these bows appeared. There's a red bow, and they're still out there too. There's a red bow, and then there's, looks like somebody had lasagna in this tin or something. So there's one of those out there. And, I'm trying to think. The other one, I think, is a little plastic bucket or something. There's no way that no kids have been in there. Nobody's done it. I'm friends with people in the cabin, and why would they just bring bows over there and set them down? So something with hands had to do that. Well, I found the plastic bows and stuff, and I haven't touched them or anything like that. I've left them there, and I'm like, it has to be something intelligent putting them there. Well, okay. So what really got the Dogman thing going was the fact that we're sitting out back, me and my friend Tina, and to let everybody know, I've been here 7.5 years where I'm at right now. So within 6 years now that I've known what's going on and taking pictures and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Tina and I were sitting out back, and she got up because she has kids still, but she's in her 40s and she just had her kids later in life. So her kids are in bed, and she just went to go check on them because we're just sitting out back. Well, I'm standing on the patio, and she gets up, she jumps over the little creek thing, to go check on the kids. So anyway, this is like, I'm going to say around maybe 11:30 midnight, and she was going to come back. So she turned around when she jumped that little creek. She turned around and she, just freaked out. She just told me, oh my God, don't move, and I was like, I just froze. And I said, why? What is it? What is it? She said, don't you see? And I said, see what? See what? And I jumped, off the patio and ran towards her because it scared me. And she's like, no, look. So, well, then it scared me more. So then I ran back and I jumped up in the door frame of the back porch. And she told me that she seen 2 figures on my back patio. And one was on one side of the patio, one was on the other. I didn't see them. She did. She said it looked like that dog from Egypt. And I said, what? And she said, yeah, the dog from Egypt, the one they show on TV on the History Channel and all that stuff. And she was going on. And I mean, like, she was running, like scared. And she said they look like, I think they call it Anubis or something like that. Egyptian dog. She said it looked human with the dog head. It scared me, but it was like, I didn't see anything. She swears up and down by it. And, I told her, cause like when she got to the house to check on the kids and she called me on the cell phone and I said, well, I got the porch light on and we had, our drinks and stuff sitting on the table and everything. And I said, well, there's nothing out there. I said, I'll come out back whenever, you're ready to come over. And she's like, okay. She's like, I know what I seen. And I said, well, it's not here. It's not here. I said, I wonder why you seen that. And she's like, I don't know, but I know what I seen. And I was like, oh my God. So anyway, the next night it was me and my friend Sean and Tina was going to come over, but something happened that she didn't. And we were hanging out. And this is like when the kids are out of school and different stuff, like all during the summer and things. There is activity, but it kind of slows a little bit or you're not having as much, I don't think, during the winter months. They migrate maybe. I think that there are some that stay over there 24/7. As a matter of fact, I know there is. Anyway, I was standing there and then my friend Sean was sitting in the chair and I looked up and I seen the red eyes and I said, oh my God, look at that. Look at that. You see it? And because where the trees are interwoven, it's like they've made a big hole there where if they stand up there, you're going to see it. So she's like, no, I don't see nothing. I'm not afraid. And I said, well, I am. And I jumped up in the frame of the door again, and I was like, no, look, come here, get over here right now. So she jumps up and she sees it and she's like, oh my God. I mean, she was like mowing me down to get in the door. And I said, I told you it was there. And, she's like, well, is it Bigfoot or Dogman? I said, no, that's the Dogman. It has to be the Dogman. Anyway, me and my grandson had went over there that day and there was a bunch of boys and they was, 13. I think the youngest one was 11 and it was actually like a whole bunch of kids back there. Well, a bunch of them left and the only ones that stayed were the boys from 13 to 11. And I started talking to them about stuff and I had my phone, and stuff on me and I started showing them pictures. And I said, look, there's something back here. And I said, I don't want you all to get hurt. And I said, I know it's fun back here and everything. I said, but there's something back here that is not right. And anyway, they were like, yeah. And I started showing them pictures and they were like, oh my God. Well, anyway, the boys ended up hanging out with us and we were just walking through the creek bed and stuff. We took this trail and then we went see the woods. They go all the way up to where the apartments are at. And as I was, telling the boys and they were staying with us, me and my grandson, they were staying with us and everything. I said, look, I don't want y'all to take off ahead of me and don't get behind me. We're going to stay in a group. We're going to stay together. And, some of the boys could speak Arabic and some of the boys could speak Spanish and then everybody else was just English. So we're back there and I told them, I said, say in your native language, say in Spanish and Arabic, we are friends. We are friends. So they started doing that. And when they were doing that, we got up to close to the road area, maybe about 3/4 of a way, but it's still all woods and field there. And we're walking along. I mean, we wasn't like in the middle of the woods because there's places back in there. It's like, it's really strange because the creek is down the center. Okay. And to the right of the woods, it's like, that's where they live. That's where trees are down and It's all dug out. Like they have dug out like caves and holes that tunnel under the ground. And then there's sticks and all this stuff over it. And see, that used to not be there. And it's there now. And I have pictures of all of that too. And it looks like they tunneled back in there. It's like this big tree with these big roots had been pushed down and then they tunneled under it. Well, anyway, we're walking down through the trail and I told the boys, I said, look, and we were standing there and I showed them this tree that had gotten broke midway. And I've got pictures of that too. And it flipped it upside down. And it's like it stripped the whole top of the tree. Because the whole top of the tree, it looks like a teepee coming down. And they built around it. When I was back there that day that happened, I took pictures. Well, it's like you can see the outline of something. And it's like you really can't see through it, but it's almost like a misty looking thing. And I've taken a lot of pictures, and like my first 4 pictures turn out perfect. They are clear as day. It's bright. The sun is shining. And they're asking me a lot of questions about stuff, and I'm, trying to tell them the best of my ability. The oldest boy was 13. He told me that he went back there and he seen something, but he didn't know what it was. And he said it went really fast. And I told him, I said, I think you've seen that dog man. Everybody was thinking Bigfoot, because Bigfoot's been seen. And it was like a family pod. You seen the mom, the dad, and the baby. Because I've seen the baby up in the tree, and I've taken pictures, and there's this black thing up in this tree and it has a tail. If you did not know and you look at this picture, you'd say, oh, that's somebody's cat. No, it's not. You have to really look at it, because it was not a cat. Its head was freaking massive, and all of its hair was sticking out on ends. Like if a cat raises all the hair up on its body, that's what this thing did. And it's solid black. And all you can see, you can kind of see it, and you could see it going up the tree, coming down the tree, that it had hands. It did not have paws, and it had feet. So you seen it go up there, and then it like curled itself up in this tree. And I got pictures of it, and I couldn't believe that I did. A lot of times, like if you hold and I have a pretty good phone. It's not an iPhone. It's a Stylo 4, but I mean, it takes really awesome pics and stuff. And, anyway, sometimes I will hold it up like I'm going to take a selfie, but I'm not actually taking a selfie of me. I'm taking pictures behind me, because I know I've always been taught they're predators too out there, and you're in their environment and they're hunting, or they're curious. Maybe they will, depending on the situation, So I know to take pictures behind me, but some of these pictures turn out so blurry, but you can still see something. You can still see it. And I know it's not a Bigfoot. I know it's a dog man, and I've seen the dog man, and I know I'm all over the place, but it's like I'm reliving it, and I don't know. It just really freaks me out. I just have this feeling about them. Anyway, the boys are standing back there. We got them all in a group. Now, of course, I got my grandson. I'm making him stay right in front of me. Well, that day, there was these 2 men out there on their patio where them apartments are, because that's where we come out at the woods, but we hadn't actually come out of the woods yet. Well, there's this little trail, and I told the boys, I said, y'all cannot go over here on the side. I said, look, I haven't even never been all the way back in here, because nobody will walk back here, and I'm too scared, because I have this feeling if you come any closer or come any further, you're going to get it. And then one section of the woods, like if you're walking down the road, you just think you're just walking past these little bit of woods, no big deal. Well, yeah, it is. And then when you get up in there, they had tunnels dug out in the brush. Like me and you, if we were there, we could not walk through that, because it is all thicket and sticker bushes, blackberry bushes, and they have tunneled them, if that makes sense. They've, like you can tell something crossed through it. Anyway, that day, my grandson, cause we got close to going out and the light was still shining in and stuff. And it was like all of a sudden the woods went dark. And when it did, my grandson, he was cutting up and stuff and he just ran that trail up out of them woods. And I panicked because I was like, don't take, I was screaming, don't run, because I was afraid something would get him. And so I took off, but I went midways and the one boy goes, oh my God, do you see it? Well, I walked back down there and I told my grandson, I said, get up there on that patio or you come back down here with me. So anyway, he stayed up on the patio. He said he didn't want to come back down there, scared him, cause he's only 7. So I just told him to stay up there. I'm on my way. Well, I keep looking in this bush and the one boy's like, look, it's down on the ground. I want you to know I seen it. It was long. I'm telling you, it's so skinny. It's like, I don't know. It's like big, like a barrel chest and real broad shoulders and the arms that I seen. And I'm not going to say legs because the back of it looked like a dog, but it, was crawling and it crawled up to that bush and it kept hiding, but it was peeping out the bottom of the bush. And then I squatted down real low where I could really look at it. And it did not growl at us or anything. And I told the boys, I said, yeah, say it again. Say it in your native tongue. Say it in Spanish and Arabic. We are friends. We are friends. We mean no harm. And so they started saying that. Well, I said, I've got to go check on my grandson. And I told the boys, I said, y'all stay right here. Don't move. And I said, if you see or hear anything, run. Well, that day, as soon as I turned my back and I got right there at the edge of the woods to check on Jack, it stood up and it was a dog man. And them boys, I'm going to tell you right now, they screamed. It sounded like a bunch of girls screaming. I'm telling you, it sent this fear and chills and I turned around and the boys are running, towards me. And these 2 men that live in those apartments, I would say they's around my age, late 40s, early 50s. And anyway, they're like, time we get up there and everything, they're like, oh my God, what are them screaming? Who's screaming? I said, oh my God, it's a dog man. And they were like, oh, are you going to be all right? Cause I felt like I was going to pass out and stuff. And, anyway, I was like, yeah. And I told the man, I said, come on, come over here. I said, oh my God, and I'm telling him about the dog man. And, I said, it looked like it was caked with mud, like it had been rolling in the mud cause it was hot out that day. And it looked like it had been rolling in the mud, maybe to keep the bugs off of it or something like that. And, I cannot tell you if it was a female or not, because when I seen that, I'm going to say it wasn't gray. I'm going to say brown because it had mud all in its hair and stuff. The waist was kind of tapered, what I seen right when it stood up. See, everything happened so fast. Oh my God. Its face, the snout wasn't real long. I mean, I would say it was a little bit longer than a bear snout. Well, then probably, I'll say July, I walked the road. Then I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I did, and I was by myself. I didn't actually go in the woods, but I was like kind of where you step in and you're just barely in on, but you're on the edge where if you had to turn and run, you'd be right there. So anyway, I walk around the woods, but I start off where the road goes and I went up the little hill and I start taking pictures, kind of, what I did is I crossed my arms and I would stand there for a few minutes and then I would just snap pictures. And, I walked the whole part of the woods back to the creek on the backside of the creek. And I come out to the field and there was this chair back there sitting, and I had sat in that chair and stuff. And, I'm looking and I see this ball, this huge red ball. I was like, oh my God, I wonder, how long it's been back here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm going to get that ball, but I had to go in the woods to get it, like on the trail to get back in there. And I thought, well, I'll just get that, like another day or whatever. So I felt peaceful, but I felt like I was being watched. And so after I got done sitting in that chair, I got up because it was sitting right on the creek. And if you could see what I'm talking about, it's kind of like when you go back in there, it just kind of, I don't know. It's just different. It would be something like what would be at a park, and people going exploring the woods and things like that. It's kind of what it reminds me of. But there's a lot of pine trees and different things like that. The bushes, like all the leaves are off the trees, but there's still all kinds of greenery and blackberry bushes like crazy. And, anyway, I still feel like I'm being watched. So I start taking pictures, and all of a sudden I see this. I'm going to say it's Dogman because what I seen was not no, Sasquatch or nothing. Okay. It was going from tree to tree, and it was up on two legs like a human. And like if a dog is on all fours and it's like a really stout, let's say German Shepherd, because that's really what that one reminded me of, was like a German Shepherd and a Doberman kind of mixed. This other one was smaller, like I'm 5'8". I'm going to say it was 5'11". And it was, going from tree to tree, and I could see its head and I could see its ears. The ears went up. They were not pointed. They were bent over, if that makes any sense. And I'm trying to think like of an animal that has its ears. The ears were not on top of the head. They were like where our ears are. And like if you put your palm down on the side of your head to your hands and put your hand right there where the tips of your fingers are, it's like right there. Right there is where the ears were. It was different. And this was a beige. I mean, it was like, I really couldn't tell if it had hair or not. And I'm steadily taking pictures. And I've had things show up, but it didn't look like a Dogman. It looked like, I don't know what it looked like. It's just really strange looking. And I don't know, maybe it could have been the runt of a litter. Maybe it could have had deformation or something to it. But I knew it was a Dogman, but it was like a beige. Like I couldn't really, it's kind of hard for me to explain what I seen, because once it started getting closer, I did not turn and run. I backed up. I didn't turn my back to it. I will never, ever turn my back, because that's a sign of, okay, it's on, or, maybe that's a sign for them to chase you or something. I don't know. All I know is I had to get out of there and stuff. And then I was like, dang, I wanted to get that ball, Well, then a little bit of time had passed and I went back over there. Don't ask me why. Just because I have to get out and live, get out in the wilderness and stuff. And so anyway, when I went back over to get that ball, it was gone. So I don't know if somebody else got it, or did it know that I wanted that ball? I mean, can they read your mind? Because there's something going on. There's really something going on. I know they live underground, and I know that they're dangerous, And I know that I get the feeling of fear and stuff like that. And I pretty much stay away from the woods. I mean, I'll like where my grandkids catch the bus. I can stand, like, I can look out my bedroom window and actually see everything over there. And, now you get off the bus and stuff, and I started taking pictures. There are the two biggest trees, and there's a big X. Where I used to go into the woods all the time, they built it up. They put a whole bunch of sticks there telling you to stay the heck out and everything. Let me just put it to you like this. I want to move away from here. Okay. I do not like it here. They should have never built on this land. And we might be having this trouble because we have paranormal stuff going on here inside. And like my grandkids and myself, we all see it. There's dark shadows that shoot back and forth. I've blessed everything. I burn sage and, pray and stuff like that, and it'll go away or it'll calm down and stuff. But then you give it a month or two and it picks back up. And I don't know if that has something to do with it or what, but I just pray to God that nobody goes and gets hurt. I mean, I know what's there. I know what I've seen. And no matter what anybody tells me, they can say, oh, well, she's crazy. Oh, you didn't see that. Well, come with me and I'll show you. I will take you and show you as long as I got somebody with me, but I'm not going all the way in there by myself. And there's signs to stay out and stuff like that. And there's still activity. Now, in the wintertime, it's not as bad. It really don't. It kind of calms down, I think. But in the summertime, like I'm going to say December and January and February is like kind of low key. And then as soon as March, April, May, June, July, and all the way up until like December, I think that they're not going to mess with you as long as you don't mess with them. And it's like I start seeing all these signs around everywhere of the woods where I've been taking pictures and stuff. And like all the places I've went into, I know they have to know my scent. They have to know my scent because I was going back there before I ever had sightings or anything. So I don't know if they just appeared and claimed it or they've always been back there.
Do the dogmen mess with you when you're in your house late at night?
Yes. Not all the time, but yes. We've had tapping on the windows. I can hear them getting in the trash. We've had them up on the roof, and they'll come to the edge of the woods, like that one little spot where I told you I seen the red eyes. They'll come there. But I've had bones. And then like a neighbor that lives up the road here, I was talking to her, where's your dog? Cause see, I found a skull, like a half of a skull. I found the whole top half, not the bottom half, the top, with the canines coming down and everything. And then I've had bones put around my trash can, and we've had handprints on the window, like mud handprint. And then I think that they're just looking for food.
Well, they have to make a living somehow, so yeah, you might be right on that. You don't think your home should have been built where it is. Why do you think that?
Okay, well, the town I live in is kind of like the Ohio River. Okay, I'm not too far from the forestry. River is not far. It's all farmland out here and stuff. And then it's like a little bitty town. And it's like the town sits in front of me. I can walk anywhere I want because I don't live too far out, but it's all country out here. And I think that this land has a lot of Native American history on it. I think that there's burial sites on this land, and you can feel it. You can feel the energy that comes from it. I've taken pictures, and I've got pictures of, I have one picture that I'm trying to find that I took. It's an Indian with the headdress running. He's in the woods and he's running. And I got a picture of it and I'm trying to find it. And I have where I've taken pictures too, and you can see like it looks like a army man back in the Civil War and stuff, standing there beside a tree. And I just think that this land should have never been built on. Should have never been built on. I can feel it, and I don't know how other people feel. I'm not a psychic or anything like that, but I have gifts, and it's more like being a seer. I can see things and I can feel them sometimes. Well, the majority of the time before I ever see them, but I do see stuff, and it's just something that's passed down through my family. There's 7 kids in my family, and only 2 of us have it. Like my dad had the same ability, and I was just raised with it to know. And I was taught never to talk about stuff, never to talk about it. Don't tell nobody, because if you do, they'll come and take you away, you know. And now I'm in my 50s, and, you know, I just feel like I got somebody, and I found you on YouTube. It's been quite a few years ago. And, for a long time, I've had to really just stop and think, should I get involved in this, or should I tell anybody? And I'm 52 years old. I don't have nothing to hide. And I think no. And not everybody is crazy. And all these people have sightings. There are people out there that know.
Oh, no, you're not nuts. No, you've seen what you've seen, and no one can take that away from you. Well, unfortunately, Candace, we're having some audio problems, so we need to call it. But before we do you have any closing comments you'd like to share?
Well, yes, I do. I just want people to know that I find when I plead the blood of Jesus and put on the armor of Christ, when I start having that feeling, they'll go away from you. And I know it works because I've done it, and they do go away from you. But I know what I've seen, and I still think they're over there.
Hopefully they'll leave sometime soon, but yeah, I guess that's left to be seen. Candace, I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing all those experiences with us. I really appreciate it. Thanks again so much. Have a great night. If you've had a Dogman encounter of your own and would like to speak with me, whether in private or on the show, please go to dogmanencounters.com and submit a report. I'd love to hear from you.